Primetime Sports with Scott Alexander is underwritten by Task Performance.
Crescent City Steakhouse, a true neighborhood restaurant operated by the Vojkovic family since 1934, is the oldest steakhouse in the city of New Orleans. Serving only hand-cut, prime-aged, corn-fed beef for over 80 years, Crescent City Steakhouse has become a dining destination for both die-hard locals and adventurous travelers who seek traditional, timeless New Orleans cuisine. Crescent City Steakhouse, 1001 North Broad, on the corner of St. Philip, in the heart of New Orleans.
Fall in love with autumn with PJ's new seasonal lattes. Our pumpkin latte brings you all the flavors of a pumpkin pie, with hints of cinnamon and nutmeg, like your favorite holiday dessert in a cup. And our s'mores latte, with flavors of toasted marshmallows, warm milk chocolate, and graham cracker cinnamon, is sure to bring back campfire memories. The PJ's Fall Seasonal Lattes, available at your local PJ's, only for a limited time.
Hey, New Orleans, get ready for some rugby. There's a new pro sports team in town, and it's NOLA Gold, bringing world-class rugby to the Crescent City. The game is fast, the hits are hard, the fan experience is for real. Season tickets, lifetime tickets, and game day passes are all available at nolagoldrugby.com. I'm John Goodman, and I'll see you in the scrum.
So here's the bottom line. Funny that you say that. Let me tell you. Good evening and welcome to Primetime Sports. Hey, I'm your host, Scott Alexander. I can't wait for this show. I really can't. Hey, I got to tell you this. I know I seem to say this every week this time of year, but what a great time to be a sports fan in South Louisiana. I mean, it is the best right now. It's a great time to be a sports fan everywhere in the country, but it's particularly down here in the Bayou. I got to say this, the Saints. How about your New Orleans Saints? Hey, they're only one of 3 teams right now in the entire NFL with only 1 or less loss on their record. Hey, the undefeated Rams are one of them. They're coming to town on November the 4th. They come to the Superdome. And then the dynamic 1-loss Kansas City Chiefs. How great have they been? We talked about Mahomes last week, but this guy's been on fire. Hey, on to college, though. We're talking about the LSU Tigers. They were number 25 coming into the country this year, and now they're all the way up to number 4 in the entire country. They knocked off 3 top 10 teams, as you know, and this past weekend they knocked off another ranked team. This time it was the Mississippi State Bulldogs. We're going to get into all this stuff real soon with Doug Mouton, but everyone knows about the game that's always looming in early November. It's the powerful Crimson Tide of Alabama and their mercurial quarterback, Tua Tagovailoa. Man, this guy has been unbelievable. His numbers are off the charts. He's already got over 2,000 passing yards, but here's the thing. He's got 25 touchdowns and zero interceptions on the season. That's remarkable. And get this, because Alabama crushes everybody they play, he is yet to take a snap in the entire fourth quarter of any game this season. That, to me, is remarkable. He is your Heisman candidate leader right now. Hey, but the Tigers, they're still a 14-point underdog to Alabama this weekend. Perhaps LSU fans should feel pretty good about that because Alabama has been a 28 to 50-point favorite over every team they have played this season. Hey, how about the New Orleans Pelicans, though? They are taking the Crescent City by storm. They opened the season last Wednesday with that huge win over the Houston Rockets. They had a 30-point lead in the third quarter. They coasted in with a 20-point victory. And by the way, they followed that big win. The Rockets had the best record in all of the NBA last season, so that was a road win, so don't take that one for granted. But they followed that win up with a franchise record, 149 points on Friday night versus the Sacramento Kings. That was in the Smoothie King Center. And get this, their 280 points to start the season is the second most points scored in NBA history. Are you kidding me? After 2 games, that is something else. Tonight, they play the 2-1 Los Angeles Clippers. Speaking of tonight, well, the World Series also begins tonight with 2 powerful teams. I'm a big baseball fan. I cannot wait for this. The Boston Red Sox and their 112 wins so far, actually 115 wins so far, this season. They got 3, obviously, in the first round. They got 4 in the second, 108 during the season. Well, they're going to host the home run hitting Los Angeles Dodgers. It's an incredible pitching matchup tonight. Both teams have great pitching, but Clayton Kershaw, what a stud he's been over the years. He is matching up against the Red Sox, Chris Sale, who started the last 2 All-Star games. And these are 2 of the best strikeout pitchers, not only in the game today, but in the history of Major League Baseball. Also this weekend, local boxer Regis Prograis has another super lightweight championship fight. This time it's against Terry Flanagan. This guy's a brawler, and I know Prograis is going to have his work cut out for us. He's going to tell us all about that because he's coming on this show today. That fight is Saturday night at UNO's Lakefront Arena. I went to the last one in July, and I got to tell you, it was a blast. If there are tickets available, get out and get them. It is a great thing. And speaking of tickets available, the NOLA Gold, I cannot wait for this season. I had a blast going to some of the games last year. That is the rugby team here in New Orleans, a professional rugby team. Year 2 is coming, and they're starting the season a little bit earlier. I'm going to have the owner of the squad, Tim Falcon, is going to join us. Remember, last year I had the general manager, I had the head coach. This time we're going to have the owner, and we're going to talk all about it. It's a big show. Doug Mouton is going to tell you all about the Saints, the Tigers, and the Pelicans next on Primetime Sports. Hey, welcome back to Primetime Sports. We have a big show for you today. Regis Prograis, that's right, the super lightweight champion, and he is going to be fighting this Saturday night in UNO Lakefront Arena again. I was there in July. It was fantastic. Also, the owner of the NOLA Gold rugby team, Tim Falcon, is going to join us. Their season's getting bumped up to January this year. Last year it started in March. 8-game season, now a 16-game season. Looking forward to that. But my guests right now, well, we're going to talk all about the Saints, all about the Tigers, and, of course, the surging Pelicans as well. It's Doug Mouton from WWL. Never a boring moment when Doug's here. Welcome back to the show, my friend.
Well, thanks for having me.
It's a biannual event with us.
Yeah, that's about what it is, yeah.
It's been a little long since the last time, but we'll be all right. Let's start right here because, first of all, things are great in New Orleans right now.
Oh, my God, yes. The football season, the Saints got off to a great start, which they haven't necessarily done a lot lately, but the Saints started the way you want to. LSU has been better than almost everyone's expectations at this point, and the Pelicans, I know it's only 2 games, but the Pelicans' start has been phenomenal.
Well, I said 9-3 with LSU for the season. People looked at me like I had horns growing out my head. You're out of your mind. You're a homer.
Yeah.
I just said, hey, but the thing is, that might be playing it a little low now.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, they're looking for real.
Yeah, who would have thought heading into the Alabama game that you're still in the college football playoff picture? And LSU absolutely is. Of course, you got to beat Alabama to get there, and that's a humongous
but they're being talked
task.
About, though.
But the first college football playoff poll will come out before the game's played, and I think LSU is going to be 3 in that, ahead of Notre Dame, depending on what happens this weekend.
Well, at least they'll be in the top 4.
No question.
Coming into that, and then the 4 go to the playoff. We all know Bama's the big deal. Let's talk about Bama because that's coming up. Tua Tagovailoa has been phenomenal. 25 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. His quarterback rating is off the charts, and he's yet to play in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, well, what you have with Alabama now is you take the great Alabama teams of the last 7 years and then give them America's best quarterback. It's like if you took the Alabama team that played Clemson for the national championship but gave Alabama Deshaun Watson. This is the Alabama team you would have had then, and that's what they have now. Tua right now is, without question, the front runner for the Heisman. I have a Heisman vote, and I'm looking at anyone to even be in the neighborhood of challenging him. But I do think this is by far his biggest challenge so far this year, and of his career, is against LSU. I love this LSU secondary. I think Christian Fulton is the wild card that has really come on the last couple of weeks. Grant Delpit, I think right now, is the best safety in America, and Greedy Williams is terrific. So you've got 3 NFL caliber, high-quality top 10 in America DBs in one secondary that he's going up against. So I'm curious to see what he can do against LSU.
Well, that leads us to the other guy that's not going to be able to play in the first half. I have to bring it up, Devin White, preseason All-American. I think he's playing up to that standard. He's certainly the big bruiser on that defense. You see the hit right there. I'm not going to talk about the hit. Let's talk more about what it means for them not to have him for a half.
Well, look, and we were talking before we started, and you said it, and I agree with you. Jacob Phillips has been the wild card at linebacker.
Yes.
The sophomore from Nashville has been unbelievably good. LSU didn't have him against Florida.
And I feel they would have won.
It's the one game LSU got gashed in the running game. They will have Jacob Phillips. Obviously, Phillips and White is a dynamic duo. But look, this Alabama team is not the run right at you, Derrick Henry Alabama team of a couple of years ago. If you're going to be missing him for a half against Alabama, I think you can get by without him. Look, I mean, LSU needs every piece they have to compete against Alabama. I get that. So you get through the first half, you get them back in the second half. I'm hoping this doesn't have a major impact on the game. And I still think it comes down to how Tua can play against the LSU secondary.
I hate to woulda, coulda, shoulda, but I'm just thinking right now when you're talking about how great Jacob Phillips has been, and we know how great Devin White is, if they had K'Lavon Chase on, and because this dude's game, he was the MVP, I thought, of the opening game against Miami.
Right.
He played fantastic, got hurt late. But this team has still come together under Dave Aranda. And listen, 3 points against Mississippi State, that's a pretty good team. And Nick Fitzgerald puts up pinball numbers sometimes. They just completely shut him down.
Yeah, LSU has done an unbelievable job on both sides. It's all three. Cole Tracy, for a kicker, has been one of the most unbelievable weapons you can have. The defense has played well. Again, I think Christian Fulton is one of the real wild cards going forward. Yeah, and he's rounding into the guy LSU thought he was when they signed him. He, to me, has given them that dual cornerback that allows them to do so much more creative stuff defensively. And I think you're going to see that against Alabama. I think you're going to see some creative stuff that those two corners allow you to do. And then on offense, Joe Burrow has taken care of the ball, done a lot of good things. The offensive line was the liability at the beginning. They haven't been great, but they've been better than you thought they would be. The running backs were going to be down. They've been pretty good. Like, everything about this team has been better than we expected preseason. Are they in Alabama's class? I would like to think so. And when I look at it, if the spread really is 14, I like LSU in the points.
Yeah, I like it too.
But I'm really curious to see what I see next Saturday. I'm hoping LSU can compete with them, and I think they can, but obviously we won't know until Saturday.
The last three LSU-Bama home games have been epic. Remember the 2016, it was 0-0 with like 12 minutes to go in the game.
Yeah.
And then they had that controversial, did he hold? They had three guys holding, and all of a sudden Hurts gets in for the touchdown. But then the two other ones, those are the biggest heartbreakers ever, 12 and 14, where they had leads till the final drive, and then they lost it. So they have some revenge, and they haven't won since 2011, period.
Yeah, right. No, we've had the game at night on CBS on Channel 4 since 11. LSU won the first one. Alabama's won the next 7. And Alabama, I'll say it again, under Nick Saban, they have not had a quarterback like this. His efficiency numbers, Baker Mayfield, who I voted for to get the Heisman last year, was, I want to say, his quarterback efficiency, the way they do it in college, was at like 203, which was the best in college football history. Tua is at like 249.
Well, let me say this. This game right here, you know what's crazy about this series? Even though they've won 6 in a row regular season and the playoff, it's still 18-18 when you look at the series. Or maybe it's 9-9 is what it is. 9-9 since 2000, the regular season, because LSU had that run.
Sure.
So that would probably surprise a few folks. Who's going to get to 10 first? Hey, moving forward, speaking of football and speaking of doing great, the Saints, enough said there, but Drew Brees, we have a picture here of all the receivers he's thrown his touchdowns to, and I love it because you look through the years. Some of those are Chargers, they're a little lighter, and some of them, it gives you the amount. But he is at 501. Only 2 others have ever done that. Well, now 3. Now 4, Brady just did it, but obviously Manning and Favre. But when you look at that, you've been covering the Saints that whole time, and you see some of those names. What comes to mind? Oh,
he has done it regardless of what they've put in front of him. And right now, what is crazy is he is playing as well as he ever has. A couple of things he's adjusted to his age. He's getting rid of the ball super fast, which didn't always. There have been a couple of long developing plays, but his get rid of the ball has been unbelievable, and he's gotten great offensive line play in front of him.
It saves your career.
If you give him time, and I think Teron Armstead's playing at an all-pro level.
Yeah.
Larry Warford this past week was unbelievable.
Yeah.
He's gotten terrific line play in front of him. This is certainly not his best set of receivers. When you get past Mike Thomas, there's still some question marks, and I think it's still possible they could go out and try to get a receiver before the trade deadline. Probably not, but if someone's given away a receiver, it wouldn't surprise me if the Saints added there. But what he has done with different pieces is unbelievable. And the way he's playing right now at 39 is unreal. His lack of interceptions over the past 2 years is the biggest difference in this Drew Brees than in every other version of Drew Brees. He's not making mistakes. He's getting rid of the ball incredibly quickly, and he gives the Saints a chance to make a Super Bowl run.
Yeah, he does. And they're starting to dispel the notion that they can only win on turf and win at home. That was a huge win against a very good Baltimore Raven team, a team that plays such great defense, and they gutted that victory out.
And they won it Baltimore's way. Yeah, they outrushed Baltimore 134-77. They controlled the ball for 7 minutes longer than Baltimore.
How about the first drive was 10 minutes?
10 minutes.
And they didn't get anything out of it.
Sean Payton admitted afterwards he should have taken the field goal on that one. Your blood gets going when you make the fake punt.
See him on
you
the
make
sideline.
another fourth down. Afterwards, he admitted he should have taken the field goal at the end of that because he knew points were at a premium in this one. But look, he came out aggressive. Everything about Sean Payton has always been aggressive. The onside kick in the Super Bowl, the trade after trade after trade. He'll do anything. He's an aggressive coach. It worked in Baltimore. I thought that was a huge win. For this 6-game gauntlet you're on now to start at 1-0
National TV too.
Is huge.
Yeah. By the way, the eyes of Justin Tucker. The guys never missed an extra point. I know, but they're harder now. I mean, the last few years they've been doing 33 yards. That's not a gimme like it is.
But he had never missed under 33 yards.
Ever. Any kick into his eyes, it's just like, and he's the most accurate kicker, I think, in history.
In NFL history.
That's true.
And it's not even close.
So the thing is, that means, but Will Lutz is actually pretty good. He's 86%, I think.
Will Lutz, I don't think he has enough to qualify yet for that list.
But he's going to be great. But we had some luck in that Super Bowl year. I'm just saying, who knows what's going to happen. Let's move on to this team that's near and dear to my heart. Now I think New Orleans is catching on. The New Orleans Pelicans, you can't start any better than they've already started.
No, and there's so many things to like about this team.
Yes.
They're playing with pace.
Yes.
They're running, but staying big.
Yes.
They're running big, which you don't think those things go together, but they have. They're scoring outrageous numbers of points in the paint. And they're still being careful with the ball. Their assist-to-turnover ratio is the best in the NBA. They're doing, I know, it's
early.
super early.
Right.
But 2 years ago, this team started 0-8. And it's
Right.
easy to lose interest with an 0-8 team.
Right.
You spend the whole year climbing out of a hole. They not only have started 2-0, but they're doing so many things well. And I only talked about the offensive end. Being able to play big has made them so good defensively. Look, against Houston, which was obviously an elite team last year, the Pelicans didn't just win. They dominated that game. You watched that game and you thought, you know what? If these two teams played a 7-game series
They're up 30 in the
right
third
now,
quarter.
if they played a 7-game series, the Pelicans would sweep right now. Now, obviously, Houston's going to adjust and change during the course of the year. Who knows if those two teams will look like by March? But right now, this Pelicans team is fun to watch on so many levels.
I have friends across the league, in the production crews and stuff, just from my years of doing that, and I'm getting more text about that. They're all like, the word's out. They're scary.
Yeah.
I mean, when they're talking like us, like New Orleans this way, that's something that makes me proud, because we haven't been able to say that since Chris Paul. Like, they're truly scary.
Yeah, truly scary. I mean, they have a chance to get off to an 8-1 start or 10-2 start. That kind of start can just springboard the whole season. And look, more than anything else, they're fun to watch right now. I mean, they're really fun to watch, which I think is going to translate to more people watching, more people going to games. The excitement at the end of last season was something I had really never seen in basketball in New Orleans. The Portland series, those games at the Smoothie King Center
was so
were
much fun.
So much fun. No doubt.
Yeah.
And they've already started 3 legs ahead of where they were at this point last year.
Since I probably won't get you again until the end of the year, I got to throw this out now, and I hate doing this because I hate when people prematurely talk about Anthony Davis and the deal, because how important is it for him to continue to have fun? You see him. Is he the front runner for the 2019?
Yeah, well,
MVP?
right now, sure. Yeah,
I asked that just for you.
Yeah, I absolutely no question about it right now. Now it's a humongously uphill battle because there's several guys who can do less and win it. But look, the way he stays in that conversation is this team stays relevant winning. If this team is top 3 in the West, he will be in the conversation all year. But the Pelicans, for him to win the MVP, I do believe the Pelicans would have to be top 3 in the West, maybe top 2, for him to be really considered for the MVP.
Russell
and not
Westbrook
the third
wasn't
guy.
that far up, though, right?
No, I get that.
But he got a triple-double.
And he's a different kind of guy. There's going to be more spectacular numbers and plays with Westbrook. But look, Alvin Gentry said about a week ago, I wouldn't trade Anthony Davis for any player in basketball. If that makes him the MVP, then he is. I would not trade him one-on-one for any player in basketball.
No way. I wouldn't either. Hey, by the way, early returns, in your opinion, on Julius Randle and Elfrid Payton?
Oh, both terrific. Both fitting in much quicker than you might think.
And Nico Mirotic, my goodness, career high 36. This guy pretty much saved the Pelicans last year in that run. He had 30 in the first game, 36. We know he's not going to average 33 in the season. But on the flip side, Drew's only averaging 12.5.
Right.
So those two, a lot of things to look forward to.
With Payton and Drew, he's going to get a lot of open threes. And 2 games in, he's knocking them all down.
I mean, how great is that, though? This guy, when you see, and he's a better defender than people
expect. And he doesn't have to be great because he's got Anthony Davis and Drew Holiday on the court with him. He just needs to be pretty good defensively, and he is.
And before closing out, how about that Chris Paul-Rondo fight? Weigh in on that one, please.
Well, look, at first you're thinking, what is with Chris Paul? Then you see the super slow-mos of the actual spit.
Yeah.
I will say this. A guy spits on another guy.
You gotta give it to him.
I can't think of anything. I don't know any guy that I've ever met in my life that wouldn't fight on a spit.
No doubt.
So I think Chris Paul actually handled himself well in retrospect.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Yes, I agree.
But this kind of. I watched the Lakers last night, by the way, and I don't have a ton of time left, but I watched that incredible game. And I didn't want to stay up till 1 in the morning. I really didn't, but I did because it kept staying close, and then they were down 8 with 40 seconds. I don't know if you saw this, but LeBron hits this crazy 3, and all of a sudden it goes overtime, and then they get up by 6. I'm like, oh, good, the Lakers get their first win. And then the Spurs come back and beat them 143-142. Can you tell I'm ready for the NBA season?
Yeah.
I'm psyched up.
It's a fun start to the season.
All right, brother. Hey, I'm going to totally hook you up. 2 of these bad boys, because you're just such a good guy.
Thank you.
And I prefer that you use them yourself because you're a celebrity and they want to see you in there.
Yeah,
and
sure.
Also this you like Task?
Oh, of course.
How great is that?
Yeah, that's nice.
Hey, we're giving goodies.
That's very
now.
nice.
We're giving goodies.
Listen, you look at you with all this
All
swag.
right, baby. That's Doug Mouton. He is the best. Hey, coming up next, we have Regis Prograis. That's right. He is the super lightweight champion of the world. Coming up next, right here on Primetime Sports.
Primetime Sports with Scott Alexander is underwritten by Task Performance.
Embracing New Orleans soul with style and fashion wear from NOLAshirts.com. Show off your love for one of America's unique cities with belts, shirts, and hats in a variety of colors and styles. NOLAshirts.com proudly celebrates the culture and embodies the spirit and determination of the people from the Crescent City. Tradition lives on at NOLAshirts.com.
The owners of the Delachey's Wine Bar on St. Charles Avenue have opened up their newest creation uptown on Maple Street called Chez Delachey, a new local wine bistro featuring a larger menu of small and large plates, a brighter atmosphere, and full table service. Additionally, patrons can enjoy a large patio out front as well as an extensive wine list offering selections from around the world. It's Chez Delachey, 7708 Maple Street between Carrollton and Broadway.
Rock and roll will never die. It's old New Orleans, my oh my. Come on, baby, let's go rock and roll at the city lane. All night, let's roll, let's rock and roll. Baby, do the rock and roll. At the Mid-City Lanes, the home of rock and roll.
Hey, welcome back to Primetime Sports. Hey, later in the show, we're going to have the rugby, the NOLA Gold rugby owner on this team. That is a new professional sport in New Orleans, and it is growing rampantly. And we just had Doug talk about the Saints, the Tigers, and the Pelicans. What a great start for all the local teams here in South Louisiana. But next, we've got a guy making NOLA proud, Crescent City's own Regis Prograis. He is the super lightweight Diamond WBC champion. And he is in a big tournament right now that they're going to fight this Saturday night. I went to the fight in July. I have to tell you, I had one of the best times I've had in a long time at a sporting event, and I go to them all. It was fantastic. And if you have an opportunity to get to UNO Lakefront Arena, jump on it now, because after this fight, it's going to be a lot harder to get over there. But here he is again. He was on our show right before he had that bout in July. He's coming back again before this Saturday night fight. His name, Regis Prograis. And here he is. What's up, man?
What's up, man?
It's good to see you again.
Yeah,
Everything good?
Everything is great.
Well, we talked about your history being a New Orleanian before. Kind of recap to people. You know, you're proud of you got the big New Orleans on here. Talk about your New Orleanian pride.
Yeah, my New Orleans pride is always, I love it. I love being from here. You know, I've been, like I said, I always tell people I've been all over the world, and like it's nothing like New Orleans. New Orleans is like a special city, basically, you know, and the people are special. And, you know, they always ask me, like, describe New Orleans in one word, and it's like culture. Like, we have so much culture, and like diversity in culture. So, I mean, I just, of course, like, I love New Orleans, and my goal was to bring the big time boxing back to New Orleans, and like, I single-handedly, I did it, you know, last time at the Lakefront Arena. So, and we doing it again, and I plan on keep doing it, you know. So that's kind of, you know, that's where I come from with the, you know, the New Orleans thing.
I love what you just said, because it's true. I've been in a lot of places in the world too. Mm-hmm. I mean, you could be in Europe, you could be in Tokyo even, and you tell people from New Orleans, they always seem to light up. It's like they heard about New Orleans if they haven't been there, so it's kind of cool to say, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely, yeah. People, like when you say you from, first off, you don't even got to say it. They just like hear you. You know, they can hear my accent, like, oh, you're from New Orleans. You know, or they'll ask you, like, if people haven't been from New Orleans, like, they'll ask you, like, even so, like, I speak Portuguese. Right, and then, like, I did an interview in Portuguese, and then people was like, you speak Portuguese with a New Orleans accent. That's crazy, like, how it is, but, like, you know, like, people can tell you from New Orleans, so, like, that's, like, a real special thing.
Now, why do you speak Portuguese?
My wife from Brazil, so I went to Brazil 3 times, and I stayed for a while. Every time I go, I stay for, like, a month, so I picked it up.
Well, I was going to say, because my aunt and uncle went to Brazil for a long time, too. They lived there, and that's Portuguese, and I was a little kid. I'm like, well, I don't understand that. But, they speak Portuguese there. Hey, talk about this elevation, what's going on. The Velasco fight, I thought it was a great bout. I mean, he was a very good competitor. You guys traded punches. Talk about that fight and what it meant for your career.
It was just a big fight, especially, you know, just being here. I mean, it was definitely a tough fight, but I needed something like that. If you look at the screen, you know, I got hit way too much, you know, and I think
he was a good fighter, though.
He was a good fighter. He was tough. He was a real good fighter. But I did some things leading up to the fight that I think I wasn't supposed to do, and then not even that. I think I had some jitters, basically.
Don't tell me you ate steaks like Roberto Duran.
I ate something worse than that. I ate a po' boy and some gumbo.
What?
Like
the day of the fight?
The night before.
The night before. Come on, man.
The fight.
Well, we got to get you set up.
Yeah, I definitely can't do that.
It's hard to resist, though.
It's definitely
hard to resist when you get to New Orleans, right?
Yeah, but I did it, you know. But even that, I think it was like the jitters. I don't think the food affected me that much, but it was like the jitters. But I really needed that fight, you know, because I went before that fight, I only went in the last 2 years before that, I went 5 fights and I went 10 rounds total. So that's 2 rounds apiece.
Right, 2 apiece.
Basically. So I can't, you know, I definitely needed me more rounds, and me and him did 8 rounds, and so I needed that. I really needed that before the fight, before this tournament. Yeah,
you are a fighter, meaning like you like to fight. I mean, you get that, and normally your fights don't last a long time. I mean, you got that knockout punch. Talk about your style a little bit.
I'm a fighter, basically. Just like you said, I'm a southpaw. I'm aggressive, and I just love to go in there and fight and mix it up. You know, my trainer Bobby Benton, he always tell me, you know, you don't need to do that. Like, go out and box, because in a gym when I'm training, I spar with big old middleweights.
That's stuff. Bobby right there, right?
That's Bobby right there.
Yeah, right on.
So, you know, I spar with big old middleweights. So in a gym, I can't get hit by them. So I'm more slick, I'm more defensive, and I can do way more things. But when you put somebody in front of me my size, 140 pounds, because I hurt the middleweights.
Right. You hurt bigger guys.
But you put somebody with those little bitty gloves on, you put somebody in front of me, I'm going to hurt them. So I know I know what I can do. I know when I hit somebody, I'm going to hurt them, no matter what size they are. But, of course, like, when I spar with the middleweights and stuff, they can take it a little more, you know. So that's why more, like, I'm a fighter by heart, basically.
Hold up that belt a little bit. We'll get a shot of that because this is the WBC champion. He's the WBC champion. They're still waiting to get the diamond one from the last fight.
We still waiting on it.
That's a beautiful belt, baby. That's a beautiful. I need to get one of those for my fantasy football league. When I win my league, I want to get a belt like that. Hey, but let's talk about what this bout this week is about, because you're fighting Terry Flanagan, a brawler from England. It's a tournament, though. It's different, and we're going to show a little grouping of the tournament, but explain what this is about and what the winner eventually will get.
Well, the winner eventually is 8 fighters in each weight class, and the winner will get that beautiful Muhammad Ali trophy. You know, I saw it in person. I went to Moscow for the fight, and, like, the dude Usyk, he won it, and, I mean, it's probably about like 3 feet tall.
Is it really?
3, 4 feet.
Wow.
It's huge. Like it looks like that.
That's gonna look good in your house.
It's definitely gonna look real good in my house. I mean, I'm honored to be fighting for this.
I was fortunate.
Muhammad Ali is like a guy.
He's the guy.
Yeah.
He is the guy. I was fortunate to be 13 years old in the Superdome, Leon Spinks, and he took his 3rd heavyweight title, and no one's ever done that.
Yeah.
But speaking of this fight, tell me what you're going to need to do to beat Flanagan.
I just go out and do me, basically. You know, he's a tough, scrappy fighter. He's gonna come to fight. You know, but I just think he got his hands full with somebody like me, basically. You know, he got his
hands full.
He's in for a fight. He got his hands full with somebody like me. You know, I can do so many different things. So with me, it depends on what I feel like doing. If I feel like going out there and fight, I'll do that. If I feel like I hit him and I hurt him, he start making noises in the ring, then I'm gonna go out and finish him. But I can go out and box too. So it all depends on what I feel like doing that night, what I see, what's open, and then, you know, I take my shots.
Well, you brought Team Prograis with you, and tell us how important you got your manager, Claude Tony Flott. Obviously, Bobby Benton's here. You got your manager as well. I'm not sure, Flott, what's his role there?
They all part of the marketing and management team.
Right.
Strictly business. They are part of the marketing and management team. I'm managed by Churchill Management. That's Sam and Peter Berg and Mark Wahlberg.
Peter Berg.
Yeah.
RoboCop.
Yeah.
Wait, we got pictures of you in the ring with Peter Berg. I was like, that's RoboCop.
Yeah, and Wahlberg, Mark Wahlberg and stuff like that. So that's all a part of my management team. Also, Bobby is the trainer.
Bobby's on the right. And
Lou
on the
DeBella
left.
is my promoter.
Right.
Sam is the manager. And so,
well, how important is it to have a good team behind you?
You definitely need a good team. You know, like it's when you have a machine, everybody, like, and I'm the machine basically. So everybody has a different role.
No doubt.
You know, so it's definitely real important that, you know, you have that. You know, you have everybody unite. And the thing about me is, like, I have no ego, you know, so, and nobody in my team has an ego, and I don't want nobody to have an ego, so because, you know, I don't want nobody with egos around me, and I feel like nobody has an ego around me, and, you know, that's how we always keep learning, you know, me and Bobby, we always learn. You stay humble and hungry, and you got to keep learning all the time, you know. They told me a story about Floyd. You know, Floyd Mayweather is one of the best fights. To me, in my eyes, one of the best fighters that ever lived. And even in the gym with his uncles and his trainers, you know, him and his trainer talk like, that don't work. Like, this not working. And so imagine somebody like Floyd. I mean, he makes $300 million in an hour, and he's still working on things. Yeah, exactly.
I need to get on that team.
Right? So, and he's still working on things. So that's the same thing, like, with me and my team. Like, it's always room for improvement, and always, you know, we always trying to work on different things, and, like, nobody around us, I don't want nobody to have an ego and, you know, think they too good or nothing like that, because we all can keep working. We all can keep building and keep working. So it's, like I said, it's definitely, when you have a machine, everybody around, you know, has to basically, like, keep all in that machine to make that machine keep working.
You're infectious. You got a contagious personality. I said that after you were on the show last time. I became part of your team. I mean, I was pumping you up. I said, this is a great representative for the city of New Orleans. And what I want people to know, there's your Rougarou. That's your nickname. But I want people to understand that this fight last July, just a few months ago, could have been in Vegas. And I know this for a fact because I love boxing, followed it very religiously since I was a young kid. I know everybody wants to go to Vegas for a big fight, especially one that's going to be a kind of a championship fight like that was. You chose New Orleans, and I got to tell you, New Orleanians love when people love New Orleans, and particularly when they're home people. remember New Orleans. So talk about how important that was to do that one, and then again this fight this Saturday night.
Yeah, well, like I said, my goal is to bring the big time boxing back to New Orleans. You know, like we start, like if people don't know the history, like it's boxing actually really started in New Orleans. Like I'm talking about the 1800s.
Yeah,
you know, and
early
then
1900s, right?
And so in the 1800s, early 1900s, boxing was here in New Orleans.
Big
then of
time.
course it moved up to New York and stuff. And then we had Roberto Duran, Sugar Ray Leonard,
I was
Ali,
at that fight.
Spinks.
I was
they all
at Tommy
fought in the
Hitman
dome.
Hearns.
Yeah, see, they all fought in the dome. You know, so.
Yeah.
Boxing is New Orleans has a history with the boxing, you know. So if I can break, but just imagine if a fighter from New Orleans is fighting in New Orleans in the dome, that'll be like
It'll be
huge,
unbelievable.
You know? And like right now, I'm that person. I can do it. I have the potential to do it. So that's why I keep pushing. Like, you know, I'm not worried about Vegas right now. Like, put it back home. Put it in New Orleans. You know, I can always go to Vegas. But, like, right now, if I have the opportunity between, like, Vegas and New Orleans, of course, I'm going to say New Orleans.
I mean, that scene I wish I could be here. I do football games on the road every Saturday during the fall, and I'm bumming I can't be there. But I'm just saying how amazing that scene was in July 14th, because I wasn't sure what it was going to be like or what kind of crowd. That place was packed. You had all kind of, you know, local celebrities hanging around. Leonard Fournette was bringing the belt out, I think, before the fight. And I watched it go by. You obviously had Tyrann Mathieu there and all these other greats. Is your goal eventually to fill the dome?
Definitely. Yeah, of course.
That's it?
That's my goal.
How crazy is that going to be?
To fill a dome, yeah. If I can get all the Saints fans and the Pelicans fans behind me.
Yes.
You know, because of course, like my goal is to be a franchise here. You know, of course we have, you know, we got the baseball team, the football team, the basketball team, and then now let's bring boxing. And that's definitely my goal, is to like fill the dome. One day have a huge fight in the dome. Just like I said, my idol is, you know, Ali and Ray Leonard and Duran. If I can do that and fight in the dome, I would. That's really like my goal and my dream.
All right. So after this fight, I don't want to put the cart before the horse, but what would be next?
Well, I will fight the next in a semifinals.
Like the tournament, right?
Yeah,
okay,
still in the tournament.
And when would that be?
Fights.
That's more what I'm curious.
I'm not sure. I think it's going to be a quick turnaround, so probably 3 or 4 months after this. Yeah.
And what's a normal turnaround for boxers?
It's kind of hard to say normal because everybody's different. You know, most of the time you can fight around twice, 3 times, or 2 or 3 times a year. Sometimes people fight once a year, but it's like
what does a fight take out of you? I think the normal average person that watches, how physical is it on you? Meaning, like, how long does it take you to fully recover?
Well, to be honest, the fight is not hard. The fights are never hard for me. You know, but the training camp.
The training camp.
Well, yeah, my face last time was all messed up. It takes for me. Well, I kind of my trainer always say I'm like the fastest healer he ever seen. I heal up in about 3 days. Like I heal up. I don't know. I got like Wolverine skin.
Yeah, right on.
But I heal real fast. But it's not the fight. It's the training camp. Like my training camps are very, very hard. Like every single day, like my legs, I'm laying down, my legs shaking the bed. Like it's just my training camp. I train 3 times a day and like almost 100% all the time. So it's like I'm dying every single day for 6 to 8 weeks basically. So the training camps are hard. So that's the thing you have to recover from. I don't have to recover from the fight. The fight for me is easy.
And your training is not easy. I trained. Well, I didn't do it myself, but I was an NBA agent. We had before they get ready for the draft. It was 2 days for 2 or 3 hours, and these guys were crying. I mean, they couldn't walk, so I can't imagine doing a third workout in there, and you guys are slugging away. That's got to be something else. Hey, I know last time I went to your weigh-in, and I gave you one of these Tash shirts, and they're so soft, man. I got you another one, a little bit different. Got different stitching on this one.
Perfect.
A little darker, and this is hey, no po' boys. But after the fight, you can eat this place. This is Chez de la Chez. Check it out. Go on with whoever you want to bring, flatten them.
I actually can eat this right now, to be honest.
Well, then, it's open for lunch.
Thank you.
Good to see you, man.
Yeah, man. Thanks, man.
And I wish you the best of luck. And I hate to use the word proud, but I'm just proud that you love New Orleans so much, and you're who you are. And I want to thank their whole management team, everybody that made this possible. Hopefully, when he continues to fight in New Orleans, we'll continue to be there with him. So, hey, moving forward, go to that fight, by the way. Saturday night, if you have any opportunity, if there's an either-or thing to do, I know Bama and LSU are playing, but you're not going to get tickets to that anyway. Check this fight out. It's going to be fantastic. Actually, Bama and LSU the following weekend, so you got no excuses. Saturday night. Hey, coming up, we're going to have talking the rugby. We're going to talk to Tim Falcon, the owner of the NOLA Gold Rugby right here on Primetime Sports. Hey, welcome back to Primetime Sports. Oh, I had so much fun with Regis Prograis. I hope he has a great fight. And, of course, the great Doug Mouton. We're moving on. Hey, there are several sports in this state and in the city of New Orleans. Professionally, well, you got the New Orleans Jesters. We all know about the New Orleans Baby Cakes and the New Orleans Saints and, of course, the New Orleans Pelicans. But there's a new kid in town. And last year we had the general manager and head coach of the NOLA Gold Rugby. That's right. That is the Major League Rugby league that's here finally in New Orleans, a professional league. They're adding teams across the country. And we have the owner this time, Tim Falcon. He's the owner of the NOLA Gold Rugby, and they're moving their season up a little bit this season. It's going to be right after football, but we'll get into that with him. Tim, welcome to the show for the first time, buddy.
Awesome. Thanks for letting me
How you doing, man?
We're good. We're excited.
Yeah.
Coming back, we got through the first year and had a good year, but we're coming back. Like you said earlier, the league's expanding. The business model of Major League Rugby is taking off, and other investors are coming in, other cities are coming in, and so it's just exciting. We're going from 8 games last year to 16 this year.
16 games this year? Okay.
8 at home and 8 away.
Kind of give us a feel that when is rugby going to start this year, and where do you play? Just so people in town, I know there's a hardcore rugby group that I did not know about. You go to a game, you're going to be surprised. There's a lot of rugby fans, and it's one of the fastest growing, if not the fastest growing sport in America.
Sure. I got involved with rugby 40 years ago up at LSU.
Yeah.
And I was kind of typical college kid back then, tried football and walked on for a while and decided to move on and found rugby. So, rugby's been around, through colleges, mostly in the club level for 40, 50 years. And we've had high school programs now for over 10 years. So it's growing in the city. We've had some kids that have gone on and played, U20 for the national team and gone off to college and come back. And, so the game's growing, like you said. And so here we are in our second season of MLR.
When MLS started a couple decades ago, obviously soccer is the biggest sport in the world. We know it's played on every continent. Where is rugby's origins? Where is rugby played mostly?
Okay, origin, it was a soccer game played at the rugby school in England back in the late 1800s. And William Webb Ellis picked up a rugby ball and started running, picked up the soccer ball at the time.
Right.
Started running with it. Somebody tackled him. They said, this is more fun than soccer.
You can use your hands.
That's where the game started. So it's very well developed in England, obviously in Europe. It's Australia, New Zealand, South Africa. It's very big in South Africa. Argentina actually would be a little bit surprised, but they have one of the top 5 or 6 teams in the world down in Argentina. Starting to grow in South America. Japan.
Really?
Japan's hosting the World Cup next year. The 2019 Rugby World Cup's in Japan, so it's growing there. China started picking up, so it's a worldwide sport. The nations that kind of lead it are England, France, Scotland, Wales, and then you've got the Southern Hemisphere teams.
Well, they have high school teams here, which actually surprised me a little bit. I didn't know because I played high school sports, and obviously we didn't have them back in the 80s. But what do you think the reason is for the popularity of rugby? Because it seems like an appealing sport. If you like football, if you like soccer, kind of what appeals to kids for the sport?
I think it's a game where it's a little more independence than other sports. I mean, like football is pretty regimented, and you've got plays, and you have to kind of sit there and go call. Whereas you get on the rugby field, there's 15 players on each side. The coaches don't interact at all. The coaches become spectators once the game starts. So the players control the game. They have to use their own wit and skills to play the game. And it's just it's a game they can play well beyond high school. I mean, there's so many kids are limited to be able to play any sport beyond football, basketball, baseball because of the limited number of scholarships. But now that the college games are growing across the country, most colleges have some kind of rugby program, and so it's a game kids can keep playing, and they play beyond college. There's club level rugby. There's even old boys rugby. I'm still playing.
You're still playing?
I still play games.
Old boy
there.
rugby? That's
Yeah,
what they call it? I love
old
it.
boy rugby. Or Masters. We like to call it
Masters.
the Masters.
Yeah, you're the Masters League.
Masters League.
Yeah, once you get over a certain age, we'll call it the Masters.
Yeah.
Hey, but your passion, obviously, I can tell. You love the sport. You love the game. What made you want to become an owner in it?
Well, the opportunity came up. There were some teams in Texas and New Orleans we were talking about, when are we going to take it to the next level? And so I started talking to some teams in Austin and Houston and Dallas. And about 6 to 7 months later, I circled back around and asked the guy in Austin what's going on. They said, well, there's a meeting of similarly interested owners or people that wanted to form a professional league. They met in Houston. Everybody sat down. And you mentioned Major League Soccer, and Dean Howes is our commissioner. And Dean was involved with Salt Lake Real back when MLS was forming.
Right.
And so he's now kind of helping put our business model together, kind of the architect of how our league should work. We're a single entity league, just like MLS is. And so so we got together, these guys in a room, they started putting a business plan together. And, it was at a time in my life where it was an opportunity to do it. And so I jumped on board.
I mean, y'all are based, there's teams pretty much all over the country, and they're expanded from last year. I know you said there was 18 last year, 8 games. How many teams have they expanded this year? And I know the expansion's even going to go into next year in even bigger cities.
Sure. So we've gone from 7 original founding members.
Right.
And then now we've gone from those to another 6 teams are coming on board. So we have
this year.
We have 13 members. 2 will play in 2019,
okay,
and 4 will play in 2020. The 2 coming on this year is going to be New York and Ontario, Toronto.
Canada, you got Canada.
We got a Canadian
That's
team,
big.
yeah, which a lot of good Canadians. We actually have 3 Canadian players on our team, so rugby's big in Canada. And then after that, it'll be Boston, DC, Dallas, and Atlanta coming in 2020.
Are you kidding me?
No, it's all major leagues,
That's
all major
huge.
cities.
Well, tell me about New York, because only because where are they going to play in New York?
I think they've. I'm not sure if it's in Brooklyn or where it's located, but they have a ballpark.
Brooklyn
that can
makes
burn
sense.
Over. Yeah, so obviously there's some challenges in the city, but
sure,
there's a good, strong group of owners up there, and they're putting together a really good plan how to pull it together.
Well, I had your general manager, who's an old friend from his days of working with the Senior Bowl. That's Ryan Fitzgerald, yep, and your head coach, Nate Osborne, or Nathan. I don't know how he prefers to be called. But talk about putting these 2 guys together. I know Nate's an Aussie, right?
Yep, Nate's from Australia.
And talk about putting these 2 guys together to become the leadership of your squad.
Yeah, so, Ryan played with my oldest son, Jarrett. Jarrett played at LSU. All my sons played at LSU and then played for New Orleans. Ryan was, as he told his story, he was a Marine from Wisconsin, came down here to work construction, played on the New Orleans team, and they actually won a national championship.
Nice.
Second place, Division I. And so when I was forming the team, I'm looking around for somebody to bring on board, first kind of employee. And Ryan and I had been talking. He kind of was ready to move out of construction.
Sure.
He was doing the pro scouts. He was involved with NFL
yep,
scouting, so he had a lot of that kind of background.
Kind of a perfect fit, really.
Background, how to find players. He's a rugby guy.
He's a go-getter too.
Just great personality. Works really hard. So he was our first hire, general manager on the rugby operations, and then we had to go find a head coach, and Ryan did it. He went around the country and he found Nate Osborne, who was from Australia, but he's coaching up in Minneapolis. He'd been involved with the USA Eagles team, the national team, and so Nate's come down. He's just a great gentleman.
He is.
Wonderful family.
He is.
Hard coach. Players love him, and that Australian connection is really paying off for us this year. They're bringing in 2 or 3 backs from Australia, 1 from South Africa, that are really going to upgrade our back line. We're excited about that. One of the kids, Scott Gell, actually played in the Olympics for Australia in sevens and played professionally in sevens. So it's those connections are good, and these guys work really hard to kind of scour the world for talent.
That's the thing. You guys are going worldwide. I know last year it seemed like he brought in guys from 8 or 10 different countries, and then now you're even adding to that. This thing is growing. Talk about the expansion of not just the league, but your team as well.
Sure. So what we had to do as owners, with the expansion of number of teams,
yeah,
and the talent pool in America wasn't quite big enough.
Right.
So we went from allowing 5 foreign players into now 10. So every roster can have 10 foreign players, although we're still committed to developing American talent, making sure these kids get a chance to play professionally. But in order to have enough talent to support our league, we've expanded to 10, which gives us 5 more foreign spots. And Ryan and Nate have done a great job of, they went to Canada, found one of the best players in Canada, one South Africa and New Zealand, got a fella coming in from New Zealand, so, and a couple Australians.
Hey, I want you to say, if you just saw me on a streetcar, and I met you, and I'm like, I don't know much about rugby, tell me why I should go to these games.
It's high impact, high energy. It's the players doesn't stop. You get 40 minutes of nonstop action. You get a 10-minute halftime. Go grab yourself a beer, and you come back. And for 40 minutes, the players are just, lights out, playing against each other. There's big hits, there's big runs, big kicks. Some of the ball handling, the skills that these guys have today is just really fun to watch.
Well, I've seen three or four shots of a guy we had on last year, because I love this. Holden Youngert, who I think that's him right there.
Yeah.
But he came on the show, Matt Houston, who I'm not sure is going to be back with you guys, but still, these are sharp young men who love the game, and they're passionate about what they do, and it's easy to root for them because they got huge hearts.
And a lot of these kids have been playing, young men, have been playing rugby since their high school, even before that. So they've developed some skills. They've gone through college. Most of them are college All-Americans. So they've really developed their skill set, and now we've given them a professional environment where they can train, in a proper, everyday training, proper facility with, being coached day to day, having film sessions, and just, these guys work as hard as any professional athletes out there. I'm convinced.
No, they do, and I'm telling you, New Orleans, this is a fun product to go see. Here's the time. You're moving the season up, right? Because last year it was March, I believe, and now you're coming early. Talk about the open of the season, how people can get tickets. I think people are going to be interested, and they're going to want to see this.
Yeah, no, we have our website, NOLA Rugby, NOLA Gold Rugby.
Pretty easy, NOLAGoldRugby.com. You see it right there.
On the website, there's an interactive ticket sales. They got the stadiums laid out. You can pick your seats this year, find out where you want to sit, get your season tickets. It's 8 home games. The ticket price at $20 a game. It's $160.
I mean, that's nothing.
And you'll get so much entertainment for that $160, you won't believe it.
$20. I mean, all the seats are good. I'm gonna say this. I love sports, and I love New Orleans. So I'm promoting this just like I'd promote the New Orleans Saints, because this is a pro sports team in this town. I'm fired up that you're here, Tim. Anything else you want to say about the whole thing coming up? Because we're going to bring on Ryan and Nate again. Then I'm going to have some players right before the season starts, because I'm doing this like I have Kenny Farrell from the Jesters, like I'll have coaches and players from the Saints and Pelicans. So anything else you want to say about it?
I really invite the fans to watch our story. I mean, we're starting out as, from humble beginnings, I'll call it, but the business plan is there. We've got, we're working with state and local officials. We're going to improve our facilities as we go. But this is a game. If you watch this game grow and where we go from here where we are today, I think you'll really enjoy the journey that we're going to go on together. Well,
Tim, you know what I think? I think you got a great thing, but you'll also enjoy this. This is a gift certificate to a restaurant uptown. It's called Chez de la Chez. It's right there on Maple Street between Carrollton and Broadway. Delicious, great wine selection, everything else. And feel this, man. I don't know if you know anything about Task Performance, but we're giving out these shirts courtesy of Al Andrews, the owner of Task. That is phenomenal.
That's great, yeah.
Feels good, doesn't it? And we have a tradition. We sign the balls. Usually it's a Saints or LSU ball, or maybe even a basketball, but we got this rugby ball. This is what the players brought last year. I see Matt and Holden on there. Give me a good owner's signature. Right under the commissioner. How about that?
That's great.
That is our guy right there, Tim Falcon. Great gentleman. I've heard nothing but fantastic things about him, and everything they said is absolutely true. Get on out there and support the rugby team. They've got a lot to offer the city of New Orleans, and that's going to start in 2 months, just a little over 2 months, right at the beginning of the new year. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Hey, you got a lot of people to thank. Man, how about Doug Mouton? That guy is so full of energy. He's fantastic as usual. And Regis Prograis, speaking of events, he's got the big one coming up this weekend, Saturday night, UNO Lakefront Arena. I got to be out of town. I got to go to a football game, but I got to tell you, I went in July, and it was one of the best Saturdays I've spent in a long time. That is a fun time. So get out and support your local boxer. He is climbing his way up. He is the best 40-pound boxer in the entire world. And also thank our great people here at CST and WLAE, led by my man William Hill. He is the producer, Naila Jones, and the Redhead Tsunami, and everybody else, Jim Dotson, Ron Yeager, and everybody at CST as well. Thank you. We'll see you again next week on Primetime Sports.